everyone! Welcome to another episode of 10 Forward Weekly. My name is Mike Fadum. I am your host. I'm also known as Ambassador Kael, and I am your community manager. And I am joined today by two amazing people. Senior ship artist Mauricio Tejerina and systems designer Jonathan Herlace. That way. Say hello, folks.
Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
So how are you guys doing today?
Oh, I can't complain. I'm in the ship mines. That's why it's so dark in here.
What is the ship mines like?
You swing a pickaxe and numbers come out of the wall and eventually it makes a spaceship.
I'm not going to say I would hang out there, but I wouldn't not hang out there.
It's easy, but sometimes it's not easy.
Well, we have a brand new ship to show off. For those, many of you have guessed from the title and the teases I put on Twitter. This is a ship from Strange New Worlds. Isn't this our first Strange New Worlds ship? No, we had the Farragut a couple months ago. That's right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
this is our second one, but our first non-Federation Strange New Worlds ship. And I'll leave chat to start speculating wildly as they already are while we look at some fan art. So, first up, ID Gaming Federation sent us this clip he called Might As Well Be Walking on the Sun. I believe he is standing in the very fires of Grethor here. How he is alive, I am unsure. Meanwhile, Dr. Steele sent us this awesome shot. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. It's a really big picture. Oops. I'm going to zoom this one in a little bit. It's a really big picture. And I want you guys to see the sheer number of pets he has coming in. There we go. Look at that.
Oh my god.
That's beautiful.
Bees!
That's really scary.
Also, Walking on the Sun, underrated song.
It is. It's, people. A lot of people sleep on Smash Mouth's B-sides.
Oh, they're Valkyries.
Yeah, they are. I think it's I think that's the new carrier.
Yeah, that's the one I worked on. It's a lot of fun to work on that.
It's fun. It's a great little ship.
Yeah.
All right. And
What's this? A region of space woefully underpopulated by bees?
Oh, now I want to make a carrier that's just like a beehive. That would be a good Herc ship. All right. And then Ed Hirsch sent us three pictures of his ships that he's had 3D printed by GamePrint. This is a awesome looking collection of Federation ships, including some new ones, I think.
That's gorgeous.
And then we've got his Romulan and Klingon ships, and I think a Ferengi ship in there too. I love the design. I think that's the Intel Klingon ship on the bottom right. It's just so pretty.
Oh, the one with the hooks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
And finally, I don't know what ship this is. It's very cool looking. And it's one that obviously came out when I was paying less attention or wasn't working on the game yet. But someone in chat will tell me immediately. And it's awesome looking.
I don't even know what that is.
Me neither. Oh, it's a Colossi, apparently. All right. Well, folks, a couple people have suggested the Texas class from Lower Decks is going to be the ship we talk about tonight. I said it's from Strange New Worlds, and I said it's not a Federation ship. The Texas class would be a weird flex. We'll probably do the Texas class eventually, though. It's from Star Wars. Good idea, Thunderstar. That won't get us sued.
Yeah, the Planet Express ship from Star Wars. Space above and beyond.
I feel like someone KD 1972 said a Klingon version of a Star Destroyer. I feel like one of the Discovery ships is that. All right. So, shall we take a look at the ship we're about to reveal tonight? Y'all ready for that?
I'm ready. Someone in the chat guessed it. I won't say who.
Yeah, several people have guessed it on Twitter as well, and I'm excited to see how excited they are. Drum roll, please. It's the Praetor Warbird, specifically the Praetor Command Warbird. So Mo, you built this ship, which means you based it off of. Did you base this off of screen reference, or did you base this off of the Did you actually have the model from Paramount to base this on?
No, they actually give us a turnaround video
Oh,
and also
nice.
some screenshots and some other reference. But
But so you built this from scratch then yourself rather than basing it off of.
yeah, there was definitely no 3D file for the ship, so it was a little of guesswork and just going back and forth with the reference. So
Nice. Well, tell us a
it
little bit
took a
about that
while.
process. This is a definitely a different. I mean, it's got the Romulan thing of looking like a bird for sure, or
Yeah.
possibly a butterfly. But it's otherwise it's kind of wildly different. What surprised you about it as you started to put it together?
Um, the first thing that really surprised me was all the like this like all there's a lot of like curved line work in here that it was just like a lot of guessing and trying to figure out because when you don't have a 3D file and everything seems to be like all these like lines moving back and forth with all the wings and all the panels, that was a challenge.
Yeah.
But it got done and it got shipped. So
I can see that on the back of the
pretty happy
wings.
about that.
I can see that on the back of the wings here. It's kind of they definitely were going for a butterfly or moth theme because you've got the monarch butterfly and the wings
Yeah,
right there.
there is a lot of swoops, but
Nice.
it was a blast.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot of windows. This is a big ship, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually have I don't have a size reference for this because I've only been looking at screenshots of it today. But we'll see when we get into our gala. Cool. So when you're designing swoopy curves like that in a 3D program that is designed to do, you know, just pixels and square, hard shapes, how do you
Mhm.
do that? How do you make that all work?
Well, I used a lot of what we call the splines, which basically is when you can actually draw a curve. I mean, for people that might know how to Illustrator works or how like graphic designers do certain shapes to make them just like flow from one to another. Then we just like these beautiful splines that they just like make everything to just look smooth and it really helps bring in the 3D into life. So it's kind of like using like a guide system, like a blueprint, and then just build on top of that.
Michael L. Singer says
That's
he's going to name his the ARW Mosura, I will allow it if you sing the song. Is that a docking bay on the front? The big square thing? Oh no, that's where the missile comes from. Right, of course, I forgot.
yeah, yeah, the torpedo. There's a torpedo launcher coming from there.
Yeah, a big torpedo launcher for a very big torpedo. Which,
Yeah, I mean, when they see the effects for that, they're gonna flip because it looks amazing.
uh, all right.
Yeah, and
Well,
there's all these other like tiny details in there too, like all these like green lights all
yeah,
around the ship too.
yeah. I got kind of the LED wiring throughout the ship.
Yeah. It, yep. That's what it looks like.
How much of these details are like material, and how much of them are actually 3D squares?
All those 3D squares actually are done with the material.
Oh, okay. Wow, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. This actually is kind of like a kit bash material from I think it's the I think it has a little bit of a stargazer in here.
That's cool. Sorry, I was looking at someone in Twitch chat was actually singing out it was actually writing out the lyrics to the Mothra song, which I've never seen. I've only ever just sung it by hearing, so that's very impressive. Some people in chat were asking which way is the front. This is the front of the ship with the big torpedo port. So if you purchase this ship, the view you'll be getting is mostly this one, which is actually a really cool view.
hmm
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, the side view is very striking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's neat. From the side and the back, it's a really cool looking ship. It does look like I don't know what it is about it, but from over here, it really does look like it's going to cloak, which it is. But that's cool. Anything else surprising or fun about the ship that you found while you were putting it together?
Uh, the The actual lasers come from these kind of like pods that you see attached to the wings.
Oh, cool.
And if you
These like
get really
forky
close
little
to the
things.
front, yeah, and if you get close to the front, you can actually see like there's some kind of like cylinders that where
Oh
the
yeah,
faces will come from.
that's neat. Cool. All right. Well, let us get the game UI up, and Jonathan can talk to us a little bit about what this ship does. Oh, did I actually build this ship, or did I? No. Okay. I did not actually build this ship. Let me quickly throw some weapons on it. Okay, I've got cannons on this character, so it's getting cannons.
Should work.
So while we're here, while I'm setting this up, tell me a little bit, John, about this ship's design and what she does. I know she's a command ship.
And this is going to be spoilers for Strange New Worlds. Probably watch that if you haven't. It's pretty fun. But yeah, it's actually I think Lower Decks is still my favorite of the new shows, but Strange New Worlds is solid.
Strange New Worlds.
Do like me some Strange New Worlds. So it's from the last episode of the season. That's sort of like a remake of Balance of Terror, and the ship's design flows completely from that. The console is the like ludicrously huge special plasma torpedo we saw during the episode. And it has kind of a unique charge mechanic where the entire time you've got the console equipped, if it's not at max charge, it's slowly building charge, even if it's ready to fire. So it can sort of store more than a total amount of cooldown. Like, if it's ready to fire and you just shoot it as soon as it's ready, it'll be at about 2/3 power and it'll hit about as hard as a normal console. But it can continue charging past that all the way up to 100 and deliver a huge shock of damage all at once, which is really useful if you're spending time in cloak or you've just arrived at the battle, and or you're like saving it for the boss. And it synergizes with the starship trait quite a bit. The other thing to know about the huge torpedo is that it, just like in the episode, it makes the hull of the ship brittle. They talk about that more in TOS than Strange New Worlds, but it's just a property the weapon has. It craps in the molecular integrity of the hull, essentially. And that also scales with the charge. So it shoots this huge torpedo that does AoE damage to targets based on how charged it is, and the primary target gets a big resist debuff. So saving it up for the boss and giving them like a giant resist shred will probably make the boss melt a lot faster than normal.
Got it. I'm just pulling up the stats here. I can see it also gives you a buff to plasma and kinetic damage and to maximum hit points.
Yep.
That's cool.
It is very much in keeping with the ship's like overall battlefield presence.
Nice. So
it's very much like a statement piece.
What kind of role
for the Romulans, that is.
Do you see this ship filling in the game?
Oh, there's a couple different ways you could run this thing. Obviously, command seating, big torpedo console. It has a certain native synergy with the torpedo playstyle if you want to do that. It also likes to cloak and then decloak and garbage day something and then cloak again, which is a playstyle we occasionally try to get into the game, but it's like not naturally that heavily incentivized by the game. But when I get to the starship trait, that'll make a lot more sense why you might want to do that in particular on this vessel. I guess I might as well start talking about it. So the starship trait is test them.
The tooltip for folks. So
yeah, it's sort of a two-part starship trait. The first part's called test them, and the second part's called they are weak. And it's kind of the premise of the episode. If you observe an enemy ship while you're cloaked and you decloak and destroy it, your whole team gets a buff until map move. And only the strongest buff applies, but the buff is based on the size of the enemy ship you destroy. So if you decloak and blow up a frigate, your whole team gets like a modest bonus until map move, and that scales up and up and up, and if you destroy a dreadnought with that buff, your whole team gets a pretty sizable buff. And the buff is to all damage and hull capacity. It's very, very like blunt force, like just superiority buff. But the idea is that this like lets you go do balance. You go balance of terror, people. You cloak, you sneak around, you decloak, you merc something with your fancy prototype torpedo and your other weapon systems, and then your whole team gets a bonus because you've demonstrated that your adversary is weak.
Cool. All right.
And at the start of the fight, you come in with your fully loaded console, so presumably you're going to want to splash something right away. But most encounters don't start with a dreadnought, unless you're in like a TFO. It might be kind of hard to get the dreadnought low enough to like pop it that way. So probably at some point later during the fight, you're going to be incentivized to go back into cloak when an enemy ship is in a position where you can pop them again and try and get that bonus maxed out, or at least to a higher tier. That's the dream anyway.
Very cool. Oh, let's take a quick
So
look at
that
this. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that leads me to the other thing you could do with the ship. Like, I mean, there's obviously a multitude of ways you could build it. It could do just fine with plasma weaponry, but if you're not just using it as a torpedo boat, it would make a fine command support platform after a fashion, because the team-wide buff doesn't stack with other instances of itself. But I can easily imagine, like, if you're trying to push a parse, you might want one of these on the team somewhere.
Yeah.
At least one copy of the trade. I don't know if the Praetor will be in there.
Sorry, I think Mo. Okay, Mo's back. He disappeared.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
I had a little bit of an emergency.
Not a problem. Hope everything's okay. So let's take a quick look at what stations we've got here. So we've got Lieutenant Commander Universal, Lieutenant Universal Miracle Worker, Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Commander Engineering Command, and Ensign Science. All right. Well, why don't we take her through her paces? I will. You have no right to tell us what to do. Great. I'm going to cloak. And then let's merc somebody. And this is, let's see, this is a Romulan battle cloak that we've got on this ship. Is that just a battle cloak with a cool name, or does it do something slightly different?
All Romulan ships get the Romulan battle cloak. It has slightly improved characteristics. They're not massively different, but it's a little bit better. I couldn't tell you from memory exactly why it's better.
It's the first time I'm seeing it. It looks great.
That was awesome. All right, so this is a little bit more slow and steady ship. So normally I wouldn't equip cannons on this, but that is what we had in our inventory. So we'll just keep front facing on these guys.
Oh yeah, and the charge up console has natural synergy with the ambush bonus. I don't know if you knew, but like anytime you exit cloak in the game, you get a bonus called ambush that gives you enhanced damage of all types, and because it affects all damage, it works on console damage. So a nice front-loaded, chunky charge up console. Again, with the Mega Man torpedo, they explode.
The Mega Man torpedo.
We thought about having it like do something when it's fully charged, but it seemed like it wouldn't be worth it. It would look kind of derpy while you were cloaked. It could potentially become annoying after you've been staring at it for 10 minutes or whatever. So we ended up deciding against having a passive, I am charged and ready to disgorge a small planetoid made of angry plasma at my enemies.
I just noticed it's also charging up while it's on cooldown, which is neat. You may have mentioned that earlier. I just, I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. Like both the play style the trait encourages is a little bit more cerebral, but the trait and the console themselves are not terribly complex. They do what they say on the tin.
Yeah,
you could argue the trait's more
it's all
complicated
about
than the
patience,
console.
which is not something that we're always great at as players of Star Trek Online. But
That's the funny part. It's themed about being around patience, but you do enter the map with full charge.
That's true.
And the full charge immediately lets you pop the trait at least some value, because probably whatever you point the torpedo at will explode if you point it at like a medium-sized ship.
Yeah. Some folks were saying that the ISE will start with a dreadnought, so you can pop out of cloak and get a big bonus for your for blowing somebody up for your whole team. So that could be fun. Make ISE runs even shorter. Just what we need.
And I think this console can be equipped on anything, and I don't think that Bordicus's comment about like being very happy with the console. I built this one, so probably he was talking about one of the ones he made. I'm not sure which one he would have been talking about.
Yeah. So this was I was gonna say Jeremy's last ship, but not technically because he's coming back to do another one for us at some point. But this is the first ship that like you guys split this up, right? So like he did the number stat things, and you did the console and the trait.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to say the console counts as a torpedo and scales with stuff. So if this is just a naked character, it probably is missing a bunch of scaling that it would otherwise have.
Yeah.
I want to say EPG and Torp stuff scales it. Let me double check that.
So a couple people have asked where the ship will be available. It will be in the Infinity Lockbox. So that'll be coming very soon. Gaves, you may not have seen his thread, but Jeremy has moved on to a different team at Cryptic. And we're very excited for him. He's getting to do some cool stuff that we cannot talk about. Someone pointed out that my power setting is set to balance instead of putting everything in attack. Thank you for noticing that. Will Infinity Lockbox get the Far From Home Lockbox stuff in the next update? I don't remember exactly when that's happening, but I think it's happening before the end of the year.
Yeah, that rings a bell. I wouldn't swear to it either, but I know it's working its way in there soon.
Yeah. Gaves will miss him too, but the good news is he's not dead. He's still here somewhere.
Yeah. Thank God for me, right? I have to poke that guy almost every day to figure out this. Like, there's so much. The ship stuff is wild. It's real wild. easily the most complicated stuff to make in the game, from a systems perspective, anyway.
We are fully charged, so I am going to cloak and head over to Mage Coule's flagship, or as I always call it, Marie Curie's flagship. And we're going to pop out a cloak and fire at will. You know, if we don't have a mission or an achievement in the next update with Will Wheaton called Fire at Will, I don't know what we're even doing with our lives.
Yeah, we got away with the Emperor's will.
I know.
That like before
I was
it was
so
revealed.
Happy with that pun. That was amazing.
I'm not sure if we released the name of the event before the reveal itself. I was hoping we would, but I wasn't watching close enough to see if it happened.
We didn't because we had the reveal on Star Trek Day, and the event I think got announced the week after that.
Oh well.
All right. Well, there we go. We have finished that mission. Very cool. Well, we have a few more minutes. We've gone through kind of everything here. Let me move back to the pretty map. And if you folks have any questions, fire away, and I'll pass them on to our team here. Specifically, if you have questions about this ship, or about the process of game development, or about, like art stuff, those are good questions to ask. If your question is, when can we have this thing that I saw in the show and I like, don't ask it. We're not going to answer it. Captain B Money wants to see the console again. It will be. I showed the tooltip earlier, but I'll do that when we load. What is the secondary spec speeding for this ship? It is Miracle Worker. Is this design something Cryptic might riff on someday for new Romulan designs? What do you think, Mo?
Yeah. I don't see why not.
Yeah. It's interesting because this is canonically a TOS Romulan ship, so I guess we could very easily make a 26th century version of it.
Some people are asking about customization of the ship. You can also sell that if you want to.
Yeah, let's do that real quick. Well, this map isn't great for it, but I'll show you what we got anyway. We've got the one style of... we got the one body type of the ship because it's a brand new ship, but there's, you can switch up the windows here if you want. Obviously, you can mess with the colors of the ship, and you can change the pattern on the hull as well. So there you go. This ship is the Praetor Command Warbird. Is that the whole name? Praetor Command Warbird Battlecruiser.
Yep. And I saw a number of questions. Just gonna rapid fire address
Sure.
them. The bonus damage lasts until map move, so it will last. Like for most TFOs, it'll last the whole TFO. If you're in the one where you like pop in and out of the Dyson Sphere, it'll fall off when you transition from one map to another. It is Cat 1 damage, not Cat 2, and the torpedo does not share a cooldown with the Talus Red Torpedo.
For those of us who are me, what is the difference between Category 1 and Category 2 damage?
Literally nothing except they're in different buckets, and it's harder to get the second bucket.
Okay.
They both work exactly the same, but that implies that they have like a certain soft diminishing returns. And Cat 2 being rarer and being multiplicative with Cat 1 tends to be a lot more valuable.
Got it. There we go. We can definitely look at the shields on here, if you folks want. Oh, that didn't work. Test reward pack. Oh, yes it did. Just took a second. Okay. Someone requested the Section 31 shield on here, so let's throw that on. Will this ship have the Discovery Warp animation and Discovery Romulan Cloak animation? Let me just do the cloak animation so you guys can see. That looks like the classic Romulan cloak to me.
Yeah, it shouldn't have disco effects.
Yeah. Jesus, sort. Where's Section 31? There's Terran. Okay, Section 31.
Yeah, this is the ship from the finale of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, this is
Somebody already saw that, yeah.
This is the ship that shows up. One of the ships that shows up in the fleet at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Someone requested the Dalkina. I don't know if I have that in here. Nope, I don't. What do the ship's numbers look like? These are not going to be accurate numbers because they are based on my stats and bonuses I might have. You can look at this, but I would wait until the blog comes out later this week to really get those. Breen Vanity, sure. What's the Breen Vanity called again? It's called something else. Is that the dielectric oscillation one? Yep, dielectric oscillation. Always looks the way it does. Zatvash, I do have.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, that's nice. Looks very Romulan. Yeah, Breen's dielectric, okay. Let's see. Temporal Vanity? Sure, you got it. Ooh. Very disco. I like it. Let's
Nice.
see. I'm trying to see if there's any other. Can I slap Type 0 materials on it? I don't think you can change the material. Am I right about that, Mo?
I think so, yeah, I think you're right about that.
I finally saw the Temporal Vanity. Definitely looks good. Also,
Ooh,
I've been
clap
having like
knuckles.
Mighty Monarch comments like rattling around in my brain the whole time. I want to build a machine to kick his ass.
By the way, John, if you're watching for these things on the stream itself, I'm sharing my screen with you on Discord, so you can get live updates instead of having to wait.
Nice. That would make life easier.
Yeah. I thought I mentioned that, but I may not have.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Someone asked for Riemann. Here you go. Oh, Riemann's cool. Riemann's very cool. Okay, this is a question that I can ask you, John. But understand, Andrew, UND123, the answer is not going to be I'm not sure what answer you're looking for, but I have a feeling the answer you're looking for is we will never change consoles again. We're so sorry, and that's not going to be the answer. But Jonathan, the question was, what do we have to say to people who are hesitant to buy new ships with really effective-looking consoles and traits, since those things have been some of those things have been nerfed recently, and we did walk back a bunch of those nerfs, by the way. But please, if you what would you say to that?
Well, generally speaking, the consoles that get touched come in two categories, right? Like, there are things that get nerfed pretty quick because they're obviously broken, and things that are obviously broken for a very long period of time to the point where there's like arguments about whether or not to even allow parses with them in them, and then we get around to those eventually. So if it's something where it's like more effective than any 2 or 3 other consoles you could put on your ship, you might want to think twice about it, but as long as it's like somewhere in the same ballpark for consoles, probably you're fine. The other thing is that if we end up over nerfing them like we did with the Agony Redistributor, we will get it back up into viability. Like, we do want them to be like reasonably viable.
Yeah.
And it's also something like, I want to say we've nerfed 3 or 4 consoles out of, Jesus, how many have there been? Like, we average around like couple of nerfs a year, maybe. Yeah. So I don't think it's a huge threat for you, but and then the other thing to watch out for is communication. The reaction last time has like made us want to be more do more signaling up ahead of time before we do anything like that.
Yep.
But yeah, they come. How it works on the back end is we don't get very much time to do balance work. Like, we get virtually none. And there's also a lot of pressure not to change anything for obvious reasons. But at the same time, there's a pressure to not leave it in like a broken or defunct state, especially like Agony Redistributor in particular was Nutter Butters. So we don't know always when that will happen. We just know that it's something we're working on when we get spare cycles, so we can signal when it starts. And then you can expect like a long lag time before it actually happens. Right now, I don't think we have anything that we're concerned about. Nothing's on the radar anyway. Usually it takes like a community outcry for us to begin moving in the first place. So if you see the community complaining repeatedly about how powerful something is, that might be something to, maybe think twice about investing in if you're scared that it's going to get nerfed.
Yep.
Almost nothing gets nerfed. The game's 11 years old and we've nerfed maybe like, since the crazy combat revamp, I think we've nerfed like 7 things or something. Like, yeah. It's not exactly a high hit rate problem.
Yeah. One thing that we have talked about, though, and Jonathan and I talked about this after the Agony Redistributor thing when y'all were calling for heads on social media, when we do want to approach something like that in the future, when there's something that's, a big overperformer that might need to get underperformed a little bit, we will probably come on a stream before we do anything to talk to you guys about it. I'm not going to promise we're going to do that every time, because any number of things can happen with scheduling and when things go live and John and my schedules, but it is something that we're going to keep an eye on and try to give you guys more of a heads up on. Let's see. Will we ever get tier 6 Dyson ships? I don't know why I answered that. Why I started to answer that question. It's one of the questions I said I wasn't going to answer. But yeah, I mean, the idea is to make tier 6s of everything that's tier 5 eventually. We don't know where, when, or how, but eventually. Looney Welsh, when there is progress on cut missions coming back, you will hear it from me first, I promise. Am I having a good day? Yes, I spent about an hour wrestling with a 3D printer and figured out the nozzle was broken, so that kind of sucked, but everything else has been great. Vorlon Angel 1811 says, which nerfs did you walk back? Do you want to tackle that one, John?
Sure. I'm talking to IT trying to figure something out with my work machine, so give me a second to finish typing this.
Take your time. I know we did. Agony Redistributor got buffed back up again, and the unintended nerf to Infiltrator got fixed.
Oh yeah, Infiltrator should straight up be reverted, though there was a lot of like back and forth with that one, so it depends which like patch version we're on, but it should be working at this point. And Agony Redistributor got its cap dramatically raised. I think those were the two we walked back. Though Infiltrator was never really intended in the first place.
Yeah.
Like that trait wasn't hurting nobody. I think also like it's not an intended buff revert or nerf revert or anything like that, but Tholian console has this like weird interaction where its bonus damage isn't working on exotics, and we mean to get around to that at some point. It's not quite rolling back a nerf, but it's a buff to a console that got nerfed, so it's kind of like that.
Sophia Nugget, I've seen your question 5 or 6 times about California class customization. I don't know what that means, so you're going to have to ask in more detail. Can I show console and trait stats again? Sure, we can do that. I'll just throw them up on the screen when we talk about other things. What is John's favorite ship? Zoberaz asks.
Oh, I have a soft spot. I know they're not the most performant, but I love my gimmicky builds, and I love like black holes generally. So the that suite of Vulcan ships that has the like exposed black, or not Vulcan, the suite of Romulan ships that has the exposed black hole and the aux scaling dual cannons. I just love those. I forget the name of them. They got a weird, muddy name, but I have a soft spot for those things. Even if, when I move the camera close to the black hole, it doesn't always look consistently like I might hope.
Yeah. All right, and here comes the trait for you folks.
I'm just looking it up quick because it's going to bother me if I don't remember the name of it. It's like the alphabet soup Romulan name style.
Captain B Money is... Are you trying to tell me my build is bad, or are you trying to tell me a bug, Captain B Money? Sophia Nugget, what do you want it to be customizable with? Like, do you want us to just make more California class parts? I'm not sure what you're asking. But yes, Brain Drain, I did know the Cerritos was a California class. Thank you for telling me. Okay, so it's bug. Right.
Surrell was the name I was trying to remember.
Got it.
Surrell.
Okay.
There's some H's in there.
Captain B Money, please post that on the forums so that it gets looked at. Because chat is going by way too fast for me to write down bugs right now. Okay. I don't know that anyone here in chat and Enclave 216 has ever named a Voth ship. But I do know when it comes around... Well, actually, John, you might have been here when we named the Dreadnought. They were just saying, how hard is that because there's only so many fortification names.
Oh, naming dreadnoughts?
Naming Voth ships specifically.
That was before my time.
Oh.
I'm not envious of the people who got to name those though. Also, someone called out a bug in chat that I actually already have on my docket, and I had to punt it to software. I have no idea why the Riemann Captain version is interfering with Infiltrator. It makes no sense to me. It shouldn't. There's nothing on the power that should even physically be capable of interfering with it. But when you equip it, the bonus from Infiltrator goes away. So
yeah,
I'm referring it to software. It's over my helmet. I lack the power.
Yeah. ID Gaming Federation, you will find out what the 5th part of the meta event is tomorrow? No, Thursday. And it's not Into the Breach. I'm so sorry. But I think you'll have fun with it. If nothing else, you'll have fun with the art Thomas made for it, because it's really good. Let's see. Is this the winter ship, Curtis? No, this is coming to the Infinity Lockbox. This is the Romulan the Romulan Praetor Command Warbird Battlecruiser. I have a feeling by the time we reach year 20 on this game, the names of the ships will be about 2 miles long.
Yup.
Looney Welsh, the 5th meta event is a brand new one, actually. So you can't guess it. I mean, I guess you could, but it would be weird if you did. STO VR, take my money now. The idea of remaking the entire game to work in virtual reality is not likely to happen soon, but I know there are ways you can set up a virtual screen and a VR headset to play STO in VR. And there's also this very lovely game named Star Trek Bridge Crew that you should definitely try if you're looking for Star Trek VR.
Also, shout out to Everspace. Not really Star Trek feeling, but boy, is it pretty in VR.
Oh yeah, Everspace is great. All right. Cool. Well, not a brand new TFO in the New Welsh. No, a brand new event. Those are different things. Okay, cool. All right, well, folks, the questions that are coming in are starting to range into the T6 blank when territory, which always means it's a good time for me to find us someone to raid and let Mo go to sleep. Mo is on the East Coast, so what is a normal like middle of the day time for us? He's up so late, and I appreciate your presence at these. Let's see. Ooh, a lot of my favorites are playing tonight. Endeavor's on, Klingon Pop Warrior's on, Dark Mom is on. Ooh, there's this person who has 0 viewers though. Let's see what they're like. Okay, well that's an ad. So, how do we submit screenshots for the showcase at the start of the stream? I will go back to the guest window so you can see. Send your fan creations to ambassadorkel@gmail.com. ARS, the Year of Romulan kind of happened. We didn't market it because it wasn't coming out at the same time as new Klingon content, but we went back and remastered a lot of those episodes and updated the cutscenes and stuff before the Year of Klingon, actually.
Endeavor, your Endeavor. Like when it comes to you and PvP, I don't even want to hear you. You don't exist. Like, no, Endeavor don't exist. Otherwise, I would just quit PvP forever. Like,
all right, now this guy sounds kind of grumpy. But not grumpy like Grumpy, who's great. Let's see. I know I rated them recently.
In the whole scale of Wedge Douche is a weird. That episode has scaling issues because
okay, this person seems fun. They're complaining about starship scales. That's half our development team. All right. Well, John, Mo, thank you so much for joining us. It has been a pleasure having you on. Folks, we will see y'all next week. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.